Now, Senator Kau Sumela, representing Kano South, has accused his colleagues of facilitating drug abuse within their offices and homes. Speaking on a bill to establish the National Institute for Drug Awareness and Rehabilitation during a recent Senate session, Sumela claimed there is a mountain of drugs and drug dealers in homes of his colleagues, while also alleging that some senior politicians actively support these illegal activities. Now, in light of rising drug abuse in Nigeria, where an estimated 14.3 million people aged 15 to 64 are reported to use illicit substances, and this is according to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Sumela proposed mandatory drug tests for all political candidates. He emphasized the need for collaboration among lawmakers and relevant stakeholders to combat drug abuse effectively. The bill, sponsored by Senator Hanga Rufai of Kano Central, aims to strengthen national efforts in drug awareness and rehabilitation. Sumela's remarks echo previous calls for officials and citizens alike for stringent measures against drug misuse in the country.
Our Rise analyst, Dayo Sobowale, now joins us to discuss this latest call to subject politicians to a drug test and the gains and benefits of such a policy if it sails through. Mr. Sobowale, always great to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure of me as usual.
Good afternoon. Now, this is quite an interesting topic here, drug tests for politicians. It's not the first time we've heard these calls, but what do you make of this discussion?
Well, I will say it's very interesting and almost dangerous at the same time.
Very dangerous.
Yes, very dangerous. Because to say that we should have drug tests for our politicians or our leaders means something is very wrong with the chief of state. And there's an old saying that when the fish is rotting, it starts from the top. I hope some people are not trying to imply that. Honestly, I think the observation is quite apt. Quite apt that some big people are financing drugs. It's not unique to us. In fact, the government, for example, in Mexico, is perennially fighting these drug barons and patrons. And you see, if you see the level of violence on some occasions, you know that those things will not have been done either at the ports, at the borders, even amongst us. Those things will not have been done if some people with big money are not involved. The insecurity all over the country, the kidnapping, the cattle rustling, the illegal mining. You remember there was a time a religious leader was made a facilitator for ransom money to be paid. These people who have big money that is not in the official circulation. That was why last week some people observed that we have more money in circulation than we have inside the banking industry. At first, you can attribute that to the formal economy, but at the same time, there is illicit trade, like drug trafficking going on. You see, in that report, they say every cloud has a silver lining. The senators were proposing to have a new body for monitoring drugs. But one of them was sane enough to say they should go and look at the Ronsai report, which blamed all of us for duplication of effort. This is more than duplication, it's quadruplication, if not more than that. Get me? So, NAFDAC should be empowered to do its work. And since it's a pity, when people make statements in the assembly, they cannot be taken up legally outside in the courts. Otherwise, this is sufficient information for NAFDAC to make a visit to some of the houses of our legislators. Because that's the duty of NAFDAC, anyway, legally. And if they will take my suggestion, they should drop whatever they are doing on getting a new drug institution in place and empower NAFDAC. And if possible, expand the responsibilities and purview of NAFDAC to involve specifically the National Assembly and the rumors so far that our senators are drug peddlers. Let's leave it at that for now.
Very, very heavy allegations indeed. But talking about that, staying on that, I know on the floor what was debated was NDLEA versus this new agency, which would be the National Institute for Drug Awareness and Rehabilitation. Now, the Deputy Majority Leader, Senator Lola Ashiru, his sentiment is that NDLEA, and I quote, he said, it has become compromised and ineffective. So he's advocating for the creation of this new board that drives drug awareness and rehabilitation, whereas Adams Oshomole is saying, no, let us enforce the law that empowers NDLEA. Now, some people are commenting. Exactly.
I'm not saying that.
Yes, absolutely. So now, having said that, some of the commentary around it now, people are saying, okay, so there's a bigger issue besides the trafficking. There's now also an issue of addiction and rehabilitation. Should this fall under the purview of NDLEA and NAFDAC, or is there really rationale for us to create a new institution that focuses purely on drug abuse, addiction, and rehabilitation?
I don't think so. And that was my argument. That's the essence for that. But you see, if people want a new institution, there must be rationale or basis for it. And so they have to make NAFDAC defective to be able to add a new one. And I disagree with that. I disagree with that, especially in the area of pharmacy, of pharmaceuticals. You see, before, many people were dying from fake drugs and things like that. But now, hardly anything you see now that is not NAFDAC tested or even very, very strange Chinese products. That means, I won't say they are faking it. I will say at least they know that there's a regulatory body that monitors drug peddling and bringing fake products into the country. That's the job of NAFDAC. And overall, I feel NAFDAC is doing very well and should extend its purview to the allegation made in the National Assembly.
Well, there is, let me play devil's advocate here. There is a space for the rehabilitation of drug peddlers, drug users, and that's what the bill is talking about.
Always been there.
Who runs that? Which
It must be under NAFDAC.
But it's clear that NAFDAC isn't doing, either body isn't doing a good enough job for the situation to have come to this, that they're discussing drug. But you said that if there's a rod, it starts from the top. So the top, they're even discussing doing
that. I said that was the insinuation.
Okay, the insinuation.
That was the insinuation. I was not the author of that. So
but my point is, my point is, if it's the situation where politicians are already being alleged to be using drugs, peddling drugs, etc., and they're supposed to be the upper strata of our society. We're not even talking about the lower strata that are poverty-stricken. Doesn't that mean that there's an issue? And if there's an issue, doesn't it mean that the tactics that have been applied beforehand are not working?
No
Therefore, coming at the situation in a different way might be a good idea.
No way.
You don't agree?
I don't agree. You have mixed up the point. The issue of rehabilitation, is what they are proposing. And I'm saying that's always been on the ground.
Right.
And to get that bill through, they have to, how do I put it, devalue the efficiency and efficacy of NAFDAC.
Right.
And I don't buy that either. I'm saying that NAFDAC is doing a great job, and we should not duplicate institutions like the Oronsaye report said, which has not been implemented. So we have a lot to play on without adding additional body of finance and supervision, you get me? And efficiency in tackling the various socioeconomic problems we have. That's my take.
Okay, well, in the spirit of enforcement, another angle of this conversation that took place on the Senate floor was that drug abuse should actually now become a capital offense, as it is in some countries around the world. Do you think that's something that will drive the enforcement of some of the laws that exist that seem to just be existing in
It used to be like that. You know, there are many Nigerians in some Southeast Asian countries who have been executed for drug something. China,
Yeah.
Southeast Asia, they have them in place. But you see, honestly, I don't think drug peddling is a big enough issue for us to be executing people. See, when you allow bloodletting, people become dehumanized. Let the maximum sentence, life imprisonment, let it go on.
With over 15 million people involved in drug abuse, it's not a big enough problem.
Drug abuse is different from drug peddling. You get me? The barons who finance it are the people they are talking of here now. You are not facing that. You are facing the miserable person who is poverty-stricken and who is who goes into drug. But there are people financing them. Look like the kidnapping. Look like so many things. But what this, you don't miss the point that this is issues being raised in the house. There are people who know, the person saying knows what he's saying. That there are people in this house who have things in their houses. Yes. You can't say more than that. Somebody, a senator, even when he got there, said he has seen, or a former police officer, once said that he has seen many of his customers now abandoning this legislation.
Start naming and
Allegedly,
shaming.
right? Allegedly.
So, it's, somebody has said it, somebody bold enough has said it. Let's see how it turns out. And it's not peculiar to us. Donald Trump called, Kamala, called Trump a madman or something like that. And Trump calls
like it would be the other way around.
Biden has called Biden worse names. But these people are pointing accusing fingers at themselves. They should be commended.
Well,
And LEA should look at what they have said. Sam?
They should
Sam-
name and shame.
Sam,
You are just talking now.
And on
if
that
they are
note,
brave enough. Yes. Name and shame.
on that note, Dayo Sobowale, always great to have you in the studio discussing with us. Thank you for joining us on Newsday today.